Supporting diversity is critical in education. We need to provide our students with the optimal learning experience that will engage them and enrich their learning. To do this, we need to understand who our students are as stated by 1.1 Australian Professional Standards. We need to understand where our students have come from and where they need to go. We need to understand how they learn as the Australian Professional Standards 1.2 state. We need to perform assessment tasks to understand how our students learn and how we can move them forward. But to do that, we obviously need to understand who they are, and that's critical to the learning. So students come to school with diverse backgrounds. They'll come to school with different socioeconomic statuses, different race, different culture. They may have never even been to school together. So as a teacher, we need to be willing to embrace that and to support them through their learning journey. So to differentiate for those students, as stated by 1.5, differentiate across abilities, we need to come up with plans in order to let all of our students have a maximum learning experience. In my second professional experience, I had to perform a summative assessment on the whole task to understand what the students had learnt from my unit of work. 2 students in the class had intellectual disabilities. These students couldn't complete the Venn diagram in the same method that the other students were doing. They weren't able to write what they had understood. So to differentiate for those students, they worked with the teacher's aide and went to a separate room in the classroom, and they discussed with the teacher what they have understood while she took anecdotal notes of their understanding. Then they researched images of what they knew, and then they compared it to Australia. What was different about Australia to Africa? It's extremely important to support student participation. I'm all about positive reinforcement, using a lot of positive behaviour management as stated in my philosophy. I really believe that students will respond to you when you build a connection with them, and that's really important to do through positive behaviour support and positive behaviour management as supported by 4.1 in the Australian Professional Standards. Also, it's really important to engage with your parents, as 7.3 states, because they essentially know their children and they know where the students need to go as well. So if you work with the students, you work with the parents, you are more than likely going to be able to enrich and extend your students and give them a really engaging and enriching learning experience. To empower students, which is really important to make them feel like their education is valued and make them feel valued, it's really important that you are supporting all the learners in the classroom and making those alterations to your lessons and the way that you even speak to the students in order for the students to be able to learn and to really engage with you. Another differentiated task I did in one of my professional experiences was the Artifact 3, the differentiated rotating task for early stage 1. The students were completing a numeracy task, and some of the students in my class could do numbers from 1 to 10. However, I had about 5 students that could do numbers from 50 to 100. So I wanted them to practice their numbers and drawing them, writing them, putting them in a sentence, basically. They all completed the same task, but these were on different levels. So some students were doing 1 to 10 and some were doing up to 100. That really supported all of the students in my classroom. On professional experience 2, I also had I had 2 students who were intellectually disabled, and then I had another student who had behavioural issues. As a result of that, they were not able to just listen to what I was saying, they needed to see it. So when I was reading the class book, I would have the book and then I would have a projector where the students could see the words I was reading, and that way all the students in my class could have the same learning experience and to get the same understanding. It's really important to use a range of teaching strategies. As I've stated in my personal philosophy, that I use a lot of strategies including ICT in the classroom. To support all of your students in the classroom, you need to be using a range of resources and activities to ensure that all students are engaged in your lesson and can understand what you're trying to teach them. So as I stated, it's extremely important to know your students to cater for diversity in the classroom and to support all of your students.